Operations with radicals. So adding and subtracting radicals. Adding or subtracting radicals is very similar to adding and subtracting like terms. So we're familiar with 7x plus 3x would give us 10x. Well, we have a very similar pattern when it comes to radicals. So 7 radical 2 plus 3 radical 2, they have a common radicand of 2. We can add these and get 10 radical 2. Or if I look at an example that the rules apply to combining like terms also apply to combining radicals, 4y minus 2x plus y plus 5x. If I combine the x's, 5x and negative 2x combine to be 3x, and 4y and positive 1y combine to be 5y. And we can't add 3x and 5y together because they're not like terms. If we look at a problem that has radicals, like 9 radical 3 plus 2 radical 7 minus 4 radical 3 plus radical 7, if I look at combining the like radicands, 9 radical 3 and negative 4 radical 3, they would combine to be 5 radical 3. And if I look at the ones that have radical 7, 2 radical 7 and what we would call 1 radical 7 could combine to be 3 radical 7. Then we can't add these, and we can check our radicand to make sure that we're in simplest form. 3 doesn't have any perfect square factors. 7 doesn't have any perfect square factors. We don't have any fractions under the radical sign, and we don't have any radicals in the denominator. So it meets all our qualifications, meaning all the no-nos, to make sure we have simplified radicals. So what if we have two radicands that are not the same? 2 radical 7 plus 3 radical 6. Well, 7 doesn't have any perfect square factors, and 6 doesn't have any perfect square factors, so they can't be combined. And we ran into this with like terms too. So 2 radical 7 plus 3 radical 6 is just 2 radical 7 plus 3 radical 6. What about cube roots? Well, cube roots, we could follow the same pattern. We have 4 times the cube root of 5 minus 5 times the cube root of 5. And if we combine those, the cube root of 5 part stays the same. And if I combine a 4 with a negative 5, I just get negative 1. And I can write negative 1 or just the negative sign in front of the radical. All right, well, what if we have to pull out perfect square factors? So if we're thinking about our perfect squares between 0 and 100, we have, 2 times 2 is 4. We have 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, and 100. And I'm looking for the largest number from that list of perfect squares that is divisible by 45. So 9 times 5 works. So the largest perfect square factor for 45 is 9. And what factors do we have from that list for 20? Well, the largest one on that list is 4. The only one on that list is 4. So we're going to break these radicals down, 45 to 9 times 5, and 20 to 4 times 5. The square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 4 is 2. And when I take the square root, I'm going to pull that number to the front of the problem, or outside of the radical sign. So I have 3 radical 5 plus 2 radical 5, and those can be added together to give us 5 radical 5. And we're checking all of our rules for simplifying to make sure that our final answer doesn't have any perfect square factors in the radicand, no fractions in the radicand, and no radicals in the denominator. All right, you guys try this on your own. See if you can add the square root of 80 plus the square root of 125, and then unpause the video. All right, welcome back. So 80 has a perfect square factor of 16, so we can do 16 times 5. And 125, the largest perfect square factor for 125 is 25. The square root of 16 is 4. The square root of 25 is 5. And then 4 radical 5 plus 5 radical 5 is 9 radical 5. All right, this one we have subtraction. And subtraction is going to follow very much the same rule like we did with polynomials. So this second radical is being subtracted. So this is like distributing the negative sign or distributing a negative 1. So we want negative 1 times negative 10 is positive 10. And negative 1 times 19 radical 2 is negative 19 radical 2. So in many ways, it's like distributing the negative sign or distributing a negative 1. And then kind of like we did with polynomials, now we can just do addition. Well, which ones are alike? 10 and 12 are alike. We can add those and get 22. And 13 radical 2 and negative 19 radical 2 will combine to give us negative 6 radical 2. Then we cannot add or subtract these at the end, so that would be our final answer. What about division? Well, the square root of 15 plus the square root of 10 divided by radical 5. The square root of 5 applies to both terms in the numerator. And I can notice right away that 5 and 15 are both divisible by 10. Both divisible by 5. 5 goes into 10 2 times. 5 goes into 15 3 times. So our rules for working with radicals will allow us to write this as a single fraction under a radical sign. And since 5 divides evenly into 15, we would get 3. And 5 divides into 10, we get 2. So I get radical 3 plus radical 2. We can also use the distributive property in this case to remove parentheses. We have a number on the outside of our parentheses. We have the square root of 2x times the square root of 8x minus the square root of 3. And we could just use distributive property. And remember, when we multiply with radicals, numbers on the outside of the radical multiply to numbers on the outside, numbers on the inside multiply to numbers on the inside. So in this case, 2x times 8x would give us 16x squared. Then we would take radical 2x and multiply it to radical 3. We'll bring down the subtraction sign. And then 2x times 3 gives us a square root of 6x. Now 6x does not have any perfect square factors, so nothing we could do to reduce that any further. But 16x squared has perfect square factors because it's actually a perfect square. The square root of 16 is 4. The square root of x squared is x, because x times x is x squared. So we get 4x minus the square root of 6x. And like I said, 6x doesn't have any perfect square factors, so that's as far as it can reduce. All right, why don't you guys try this one on your own, use the distributive property, try to pull out any perfect square factors, and simplify. All right, welcome back. Well, radical 5 times 2 is just 2 radical 5. Radical 5 times radical 5 is radical 25. And 25 is a perfect square. The square root of 25 is 5. And this radical 5 does not simplify any further because it does not have any perfect square factors. And we cannot add without the same radicand. All right, let's try a little harder one. You guys try this one. Pause the video here, see how you do, and then we'll come back and check. All right, so when we multiply radicals, we want to remember numbers on the outside, multiply the outside, inside, multiply the inside. So I can do 6 times 2 is 12. So I have 12 outside of the radical sign. 15 times 20 is 300. And y to the 4th times y squared. When we multiply with the same base, we're going to add the exponents. So I get 12 times the square root of 300 y to the 6th. Now looking to simplify further, we have some perfect square factors under the radical. Well, y to the 6th is a perfect square itself because y to the 3rd times y to the 3rd will give us y to the 6th. And 300 has a perfect square of 100. So we can change this to 100 times 3. And this y to the 6th, when I take the square root, I'm going to bring y to the 3rd out in front of the radical sign. Now, 100 is a perfect square. The square root of 100 is 10. And I'm pulling that 10 out in front of the radical sign, but I already have a 12 here. So what I'm going to do is when I pull that 10 out, I'm going to multiply it times the 12 to get 120. So I have 120 y to the 3rd times the square root of 3. And I can always double check and make sure that what's left in the radicand doesn't have any perfect square factors, and 3 does not. So we are completely simplified. And I hope that helps you guys with your operations with radicals. All UT spells out, dude, totally radical. Bye-bye.